So here I have a story. Patricia have a sandwich shop. All the sandwiches made in the shop are grilled, and the shop owns only one grill. At first, she have only one worker. With one worker, the sandwich shop can only produce 10 sandwiches per hour. Patricia want to increase the total product, sandwich per hour, so she hired the second worker. When she have 2 workers, the total product increased from 10 to 25 sandwiches per hour. That make her happy. Patricia thinks that if she could hire more workers, then her sandwich shop can produce more sandwich, and that means she can get more income. So she keep adding some worker and the total sandwich produced per hour is increasing. But there's some problem when she hired the 6th worker. The total product not increasing anymore. It makes her confused. Why the total product or sandwiches per hour not increasing? Are you guys know why? It has some relationship with the law of diminishing returns. Okay, but what is the law of diminishing returns? To get the answer, please watch this video carefully. Firstly, let's talk about production. Production is the process through which input are combined and transformed into output. In this video, we are looking at the relationship between input, the resource to produce things, and output, the things that producers make. For example, when sandwich shop hire more workers, what happened to the number of sandwiches they can produce? Before we jump into it, there's a few details we have to cover. First, keep in mind there's 2 types of resources, fixed resources and variable resources. A fixed resource remains unchanged as output increases. Like a grill, if you produce 1 sandwich or 500 sandwiches, you still need that 1 grill. And at a variable resource change in tandem with output. The more sandwich you make, the more bread or cheese you need. All resources are utilized as inputs in the production process. Now, when it comes to producing things, economists like to differentiate between the short run and the long run. Short run, the period of time for which 2 conditions hold. The firm is operating under a fixed scale or fixed resources, and firms can neither enter nor exit an industry. Long run is that period of time for which there are no fixed factor of production. Firms can increase or decrease the scale of operation, and new firms can enter and existing firms can exit the industry. No hard and fast rules specify how long the short run is. The point is that firms make 2 basic kinds of decisions. Those that govern the day-to-day operation of the firm, and those that involve longer-term strategic planning. In this video, we will talk about production in the short run when there's at least 1 fixed resource. Talk about production function. Production function is the function that explains the relationship between physical inputs and physical output or final output. We normally denote the production function in a form like this, where Q represents the final output and X1 and X2 are inputs or factor of production. Total product. In simple terms, we can define total product as the total volume or amount of final output produced by a firm using given inputs in a given period of time. Marginal product. Marginal product is the additional output produced as a result of employing an additional unit of the variable factor input. Thus, we can say that marginal product is the addition to total product when an extra factor input is used. Average product. It is defined as the output per unit of factor input or the average of the total product per unit of input, and can be calculated by dividing the total product by the inputs. Here's the curve of total product, marginal product, and average product. Relationship between marginal product and total product. There's a relationship between marginal product and total product called the law of diminishing returns. This is the reason why added the sixth worker adds no output at all. Is used to explain the relationship between total product and marginal product. The law of diminishing returns states that after a certain point, when additional unit of a variable input, in this case labor, are added to fixed input, in this case the building and grill, the marginal product of the variable input declines. Or we can say, it states that when only one variable factor input is allowed to increase and all other inputs are kept constant, the following can be observed. First, when the marginal product or MP increases, the total product is also increasing at an increasing rate. This gives the total product curve a convex shape in the beginning as variable factor input increase. This continues to the point where the MP curve reaches its maximum. When the MP declines but remains positive, the total product is increasing but at a decreasing rate. This gives the total product curve a concave shape after the point of inflection. This continues until the total product curve reaches its maximum. When the MP is declining and negative, the total product declines. And when the MP becomes zero, total product reaches its maximum. When you hire no worker, you get no output. But when you hire one worker, they have to do everything on their own. They can specialize. Two workers can split up the work and produce a whole lot more together than any one of them could own their own. This shows the benefit of specialization, but specialization has its limit. As you add more and more variable resources to fixed resources, eventually you are going to get less and less additional. Like in the previous example. A small sandwich shop that we mentioned in the opening of this video. All the sandwiches made in the shop are grilled, and the shop owns only one grill. One person working alone can produce only 10 sandwiches per hour, in addition to answering the phone, waiting on customer, keeping the table clean, and so on. When added the second worker can stay at the grill full-time and not worry about anything except making sandwiches. Because the two workers together, they can produce 25 sandwiches, means that the MP is 15. When a third person comes, he trying to use the grill and produce crowding, but with careful use of space, more sandwiches can be produced. The third worker adds 10 sandwiches per hour. And the fourth and fifth worker can work at the grill only while the first three are putting the pickles, onion, and wrapping on the sandwiches they have made. Then the first three must wait to get back to the grill. One grill is not enough for 5 people, isn't it? And because of that, the worker 4 adds 5 sandwiches per hour to the total, and worker 5 adds just 2. And adding a 6th worker adds no output at all. At our sandwich shop, diminishing returns set in when the third worker is added. The marginal product of the second worker is actually higher than the first. The first worker takes care of the phone and the tables, thus freeing the second worker to concentrate exclusively on sandwich making. From that point on, the grill gets crowded. It is important to note here that diminishing returns are setting in not because the third, fourth, and fifth worker is worse than worker 1 or 2. We assume they are identical. But because as we add staff, each has a smaller amount of capital, here a grill, to work with. Like I said before, diminishing returns or diminishing marginal product begin to show up when more and more units of a variable input are added to fixed input, such as the scale of the plan. Recall that we define the short run as the period in which some fixed factor of production constrains the firm. It then follows that diminishing returns always apply in the short run and that, in the short run, every firm will face diminishing returns. This means that every firm finds it progressively more difficult to increase its output as it approaches a capacity production. Okay, so here I have the real data from some journal. Here's the question. With which worker does the law of diminishing marginal returns begin? Yes, it began with the labor unit increase from 43 to 44. Notice that marginal product has been falling from 20,207 to 9,197. Now, I will showing you guys how to make the curve in Excel. Okay guys, for summary, we already talked about production function, we also talked about total product, marginal product, and average product. And we already talked about the relationship between marginal product and total product called the law of diminishing returns. It is important to keep in mind that we are talking about economic theory. The numbers in real life is not perfect as the textbook, but the idea of diminishing marginal returns is super important for anyone who just want to run a business and figure out how many workers to hire, or maybe to a government official trying to figure out the best economic policy. That's it, the explanation of law of diminishing returns. Hopefully this video can help you understand about the law of diminishing returns. If you think this video is helpful or useful, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.